Hi, everyone. Thank you for being with us today again. And we are bringing to you another Zoom session, another informational webinar. And today we're going to talk about how to sell your Bulgarian products in the United States through 7 easy steps. As you know, the US-Bulgarian Chamber in America is a newly established entity based in Washington, D.C. with outreach office in Pennsylvania. So we will try during these challenging times to be as useful, as informational and resourceful to you as possible. And today with us, we have Brian Brown, who is a partner in a very newly established entity as well called Eurozone Trading Partners. Him and a few other folks have formed this entity to help Eastern European companies who want to sell their goods and services through the MSP and 8A programs, create some beneficial business partnerships in the spirit of a mutual cooperation, and also open doors for you of opportunity for in diverse communities. So Brian, thank you for being us today, and we all look forward to your presentation to learn more about some of those available programs for exporters and importers.
Благодаря, Elise, for that introduction. Thank you very much. And Dobar den and Kasi for everyone, and Dobar vecha. That's the extent of my Bulgarian. So before I get started, a couple things. If you're not a member of the US-Bulgarian Chamber in America, I highly recommend that you do it. The League has created an organization like none other, and she's looking to bring innovation and insight and opportunity for you. So if you're not a member, I highly recommend that you join. I'm a new member of the organization, and it's an honor, privilege, and a pleasure to get started. Now, you're probably thinking that I'm Bulgarian, and I've been to Bulgaria over a dozen times. And just to make the record straight, I'm not Bulgarikansky, I'm Amerikansky. But I was in Veliko Trnovo, and these folks from Varna stopped me on the street because they think I'm Bulgarian. They said to me in Bulgarian, where is the Savica, very famous castle in Velika Trnova? And I'm like, I'm not Bulgarian. Yes, you are. We went back and forth, and then was like, okay, go down the street, make a right. It'll be on your left. You can't miss it. So anyway, I just want to make it clear I'm not Bulgarian. So anyway, thank you again for taking this time. I hope you'll find it beneficial. I hope it's only the beginning of our conversations, and not at the end. I look forward to being of service to you. So how to sell your products in the United States in 7 easy steps. Let's get started. So just in case you didn't know, that the United States is a very large country, right? 410 million people, 140 lev GDP, and 432,000 lev is the yearly income. And this is information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. Treasury, and the General Accounting Office, if you want to go back and take a look at that information. So what, right? United States is a big country. You probably already knew that. But the thing is this, there's a tremendous opportunity in the U.S. to sell your goods and services. So just in case you're not convinced that the U.S. is a big country and there's an opportunity, that's my information below. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Connect with Elise as well, and I can give you more data if you need some additional data. So again, as stated previously, I've been in Bulgaria over 12 times. I've had the opportunity to sample real yogurt, Bulgarian yogurt, mavrud. If you don't know how great mavrud is, ask me, or better yet, give me all the mavrud you have, and I'll tell you how great it is. Bulgarian cosmetics, mattresses, textiles, suits, you name it, products out of Bulgaria. The quality is unbelievable. The prices, Bulgarian prices are the same, are so much better than the prices in Western Europe. I know a lot of you have traveled to those parts of Europe, of course. And one of the other strengths that I see is that you might be thinking, hey, I'm not a big producer of products or services. I may not be able to sell to the large U.S. market. That's not a problem. We'll touch on that a little bit. The other great news is a lot of your competitors in Bulgaria and Eastern Europe are very happy to be, a big fish in a little pond in Moldova or Kosovo, right? We're killing it in southern Slovenia, but and that's great. But again, the U.S. market, of course, brings a lot of potential opportunity there. And another one of your strengths is you're a visionary. The fact that you're taking this time this evening participate in this presentation shows that you see an opportunity, you have the vision to go greater. And then, the last thing is plain and simple, your competitors are lazy. A lot of them are just so very happy to put their stuff in the Balkan stores. I like to say, several of the 1,200 Bulgarian Americans who live in Catonsville, Maryland. Catonsville is near Baltimore. It's kind of near where I grew up and went to high school. So I think those are 7 steps. So one of the things is, when the first thing a lot of people think about when they want to sell in the United States, they think about selling to Walmart. And I would say this, Walmart is a good idea, but I wouldn't start there. We'll touch on that a little bit later on. So I already told you about it. America is a very diverse country. I'm sure you've probably seen and heard a lot of things that are going on. And so Americans, though you may look at us all as Americans, we all are. We pretty much speak one language. The smart people speak multiple languages, but the average American speaks one. But even though we're all Americans, we all buy very differently. Even an African-American male that's 59 years old buys differently than I do. So one of the keys is you have to invest in marketing. You don't have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to invest in a marketing program like McDonald's or Coca-Cola or something like that, but you can leverage a lot of the tools that are already there. And as you can see, I say, spoiler alert, social media is free. That's really a great way to do it. I know you're familiar with the Kardashians. They've made a great living leveraging social media. So invest in marketing, use social media. And again, if you're not sure how to do it here in the United States, I think there's somebody named Elise that can help you with that. So you're probably thinking, I've heard this once or twice before, yeah, advertising is for inferior products. By the way, that's not actually a picture of me. It isn't, because if you notice, that guy has a mustache, I don't. But yeah, of course, advertising not always about inferior products. In the United States, if people don't know your product, the reality is they're just not going to buy it. And so the example I always use, I haven't been to, but I've seen the McDonald's in Plovdiv, and I've seen McDonald's in Sofia, right? I don't go to McDonald's. I don't go to McDonald's in the United States, but I can't find a Happy Bar and Grill in the United States. I think that's a shame. We should fix that. So now it's going to get even easier. Remember in the beginning of this, we talked about 7 easy steps to selling in the United States, and Elise talked about the Minority Supplier Program. And so this is it. This is a government program started by the U.S. Small Business Administration called 8A. What you're seeing right now on the screen, and I won't read it to you, is this is the actual law, the regulation that established the Minority Supplier Program, right? Known as, they call it 8A, that established the program. You'll see it was primarily there to help Black, Hispanics, Native Americans, women, and other minorities to be able to be successful in the U.S. So you're probably thinking, that's great, Brian, for you. You live in America. I live in Etara, or I live in Gabrovo. But there's a reason you should care about that. Because all private companies, universities, state, local governments, all the federal government, they all have what's known as a set-aside program. So that means a certain amount of money they would spend on mattresses, like, for example, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management System, or the VA hospitals. They would set aside anywhere 5, 10, 15, 20% or more to minority supplier programs. And you can see from the different icons is a nice cross section. Not only do you have, each state has a program, but there are regional programs. Corporations have programs. Washington Gas and Electric is a public utility. They have a program. So a lot of these programs already exist. So I noticed a little bit of an eye chart, but all the companies that you can see here, they all have a minority supplier program. And the beautiful part about the minority supplier program is if you've been trying to call these companies and talk to them, or sending an email to info@buyer.com and you're not getting a whole lot of responses, it's kind of plain and simple. They really don't have a reason to talk to you. The minority supplier program has now given them a reason. So the reason why this is so important, and I've emphasized it a little bit too much, because it's the law in the United States, plain and simple. So you might be thinking, Brian, I'm not American, nor am I a minority. As stated previously, still not a picture of me, because again, that guy has a mustache. And if you notice, he's wearing a turban. I'm not wearing a turban. You need an American business partner who is a minority, someone like me. So, yep, that is an actual picture of me. But you might also be thinking, but I'm only one person. And of course, that's absolutely true. I am one person. But I know you don't think that USA stands for United States of America. But for our presentation, it also stands for the United States of Associations. There are associations for everything that you could possibly think of in the United States. So here's just a small snapshot of some of the professional associations. And the reason I bring this up is because these are really great places to find other people like me or professionals that you can work with and you can partner with. Typically, if you see anything that says national in front of it, that usually means it's the African American Association. Anything with H is usually Hispanic, or anything typically with an A is Hispanic. But like I said, the number of diverse associations, African American, Hispanic, Native American, women associations, is so vast. I could spend 3 hours just going through that list and not exhaust it all. So let's kind of recap, right? So companies and governments all have minority supplier programs. It's the law. They must buy through those minority supplier programs. Real life example: a big defense contractor, a company that manufactures aircraft carriers, was on a multi-billion-dollar bid opportunity, and they didn't meet their minority supplier program set aside. And so it was a multi-billion-dollar deal they lost, and the CEO lost a $20 million bonus. So when you start looking at those kind of numbers, all of a sudden, minority supplier programs become extremely important. And then again, like the previous slide said, leverage business association. I'm happy to work with you any way that I can. If you choose not to work with us, which I think is unfortunate, but I understand. There's plenty of other really sharp minority business people out here that you can partner with. A lot of them, Elise knows, and a lot of them are coming to the US-Bulgarian Chamber in America. So again, if you're not talking to Elise, you're not partnering with her. I think you're hurting your business and you're hurting your opportunities. And you had to throw the Combinita Dark in there because I really like Combinita Dark, and you just can't find it here in the United States. So if anybody's out here that has Combinita Dark, that can get Combinita Dark TDUS for me, I really appreciate it. I'd love to partner with you on that one. So I'm fearful I would drink up all the profits. So here's my contact information. Elise has my contact information as well. I'm available to you. Send me an email, give me a call, whatever I can do to help. You can also use that number to find me on Viber and WhatsApp. But again, it's a tremendous opportunity for your products. I almost am a little fearful to say it because I understand a little bit about Eastern European culture. If you say too many good things, people don't forgive you. But like I said, I'm really not Bulgarian. So the reality is this: the products that I've seen and have experienced when being to Bulgaria are second to none. Please, Americans want to buy your stuff. They just need to know who you are and are happy to do it. So I hope this brief presentation was informative. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, but really the best way to do it is join the US-Bulgarian Chamber in America. Touch base with Elise. We should not talk on a fairly frequent basis, and I'm looking forward to being of service to you in the future. And when I can come back to Bulgaria, when the time is right, and I'll have my mask on, hopefully we'll get a chance to have a glass of Mavrud or a bottle of Mavrud. That's for me. I'm not quite sure what you're going to drink. So anyway, thank you so much. God bless you and God bless your family. Благодаря Divisione. And Elise, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer some questions.
Yes, thank you so much for this informational presentation, Brian. I'm sure a lot of folks are hearing about minority supply program for the first time. And I'm sure there are going to be many questions. One question that I'd like to ask you is, are there certain products that are favorable according to the minority supplier program that our importers should consider versus other products? Is there such list, or is it really based on what the company's capabilities are?
So right now, the American consumer consumes everything. We consume mass quantities of everything as well. So it's a scenario where I mean, almost virtually any product that you have, there's an opportunity for you to sell it in the United States. Right now, hand sanitizer. So I don't know if you can see this or not. Hand sanitizer probably disappeared, but hand sanitizer is extremely popular now in the United States. We're actually partnering with a Bulgarian company to bring hand sanitizer into the U.S. market. Bedding, mattresses. As I stated before, the Federal Emergency Management Association, the Veterans Hospital Administration, prisons are looking for bedding, colleges and universities. So yeah, going after the big hotels, this is a good idea, but there's a lot of those wonderful niche markets. Bulgarian cosmetics, every time I came back with products from Rubella or from Bilka or BioFresh or Rosa Impacts, what were supposed to be samples like a magic act. I say, oh, hey, try some of this, and then give them a 50 milliliter tube, and it would disappear. I'd give it to a lady to try, and all of a sudden, the tube was gone. So the cosmetics that come out of your country, again, I'm a big fan of Mavrut. I think that's been fairly well established. If you've got products, there's the market for it in the United States, particularly at the price points and the quality.
Thank you. What about the process of the actual program? Do you know on average how long would it take for a company to until they make, from the time they make initial contact and find that minority partner, and then what's the process? Is there a wait line? Is it on a recurring basis? Is it ongoing? Is there what are the challenges through that process?
Right. So being able to participate in a minority supplier program is an ongoing process. One can begin to apply at any time, right? There's no limitation on how often. There's no limitation on how many minorities can participate, nor on the products that they serve. One of the good places to go is to partner with somebody that already has a minority, that's already a part of some of these programs. So there's a gentleman, hopefully he'll be a speaker with the lead for the US-Bulgarian Chamber, who currently does participate in the program. And so he'll be able to offer some insight. So there's a couple ways to do it. One, you can find someone who's already there. And even if they're doing technology and you're selling a food product like yogurt or well, Bulgarian tomatoes are so good that y'all need to leave them in the country for me. But if you're selling those types of products, you can partner with someone that's already done it. If you're getting with a new minority company who's looking to do that, typically it can take 6 months, maybe a year, sometimes a little bit sooner. But if you're in a scenario where you have a very unique offering, or like now during the pandemic, bedding and hand sanitizer and personal protective equipment is in high demand, there's opportunities to be able to sole source, which means you don't have to go through a tender process. And also private companies don't have to go through a tender process at all. So it can be relatively instantaneous. So again, find someone that's already doing it, or find a minority business partner. The key, if you have a product, like I said, Americans buy everything. Some of the stuff they buy, I'm not even quite sure about, but Americans buy everything. Did I answer the question?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. I was just thinking of, I know you mentioned, the importance of, leveraging the social media and using it for free for marketing, but also something else, how they should, how would they find those minority, partners? Like, what if, let's say they come to us, is there a limitation on how many partners, or how much a minority business can take on those partnerships?
Yeah, so there's really no limitation there. I mean, if there's a scenario where you have a great product and you want to partner with there's 50 states plus several territories. If you want to work with minority partners in all 50 states and plus counties and cities, it's not a problem. I mean, I recommend it. I mean, obviously you don't want to necessarily be too overextended, right? Because that can create a little bit of some challenges. But my recommendation is find a couple minority partners that you want to work with, and partner up with them and work with them. The real key is this: you want to start a bit of a joint venture. And so in that joint venture, there's the Bulgarian company, and then the US entity that's run by the minority. So that has to be at least 51% owned by the minority. And so 51% ownership also means you split the profits 51%. When this program first started, folks found big loopholes and gaps and didn't really play by the rules. That's been tightened up over the years, but you can make a whole lot of money playing by the rules. I know people who are multimillionaires and billionaires, minorities who have done a great job providing goods and services, and and so there's really truly an opportunity. Hey, 49% of $100 million profit. I don't know what that number is, but it's a number that I want. So that can be a really good day. And the other beautiful part about the Minority Supplier Program, particularly if you're working with the government, I believe it's a 4 to 8 year time period that you can be a part of the program, and then you're supposed to graduate and continue on, that sort of thing. But in 4 years, you can do extremely well. I know a lot of folks have done so well that when they graduated from their businesses to their villa in Fiji. So and they're kind of taking it easy from there. So we all need to be graduating to our villas in Fiji in 4 years.
Uh, Amen to that. I agree with that. Ah, that's great. What about the business from Bulgaria that wants to import their products? Would you say that they have to be successful at their local and regional market first before they try to step into the U.S. market?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think that the key that's really important there is that a willingness to want to be successful, right? So if you're willing to be successful, then it doesn't necessarily matter how successful you are in a local market, like I said, in Kosovo or southern Slovenia. I think that what's really important is that you take that initial step, you take the first step, and you look to work together. Because again, being in the United States and being in the U.S. market will be extremely lucrative to those Bulgarian companies who are willing to make that step and willing to make that investment. You have to invest in your own success, is a term I like to use. You'll probably find some challenges trying to get Americans to work for you for free. And the other part is the U.S. government is going to be looking for that investment from Bulgaria into the U.S. entity to make sure it's a real company, because a lot of Americans don't know where Bulgaria is. So
That's unfortunate, but yes, it
we're
is.
fixing that. That's what you're here for, Elise. That's what the U.S.
Right?
Bulgarian Chamber is all about.
Popularize Bulgaria, yeah, especially the opportunities between
Absolutely.
both countries. Definitely, Brian. Would you say that the situation right now that we're in maybe would leverage towards loosening some of the restrictions with that program? Do you foresee or do you see no change in the way that applications are done, the process and review and all that?
Yeah, I think that the process is the process it is, but I think there is, we have a very sensitive time here in the United States, and it's going to be good for everybody because I think all that anybody really wants to do is to be able to compete fairly on their own, right? Just have an opportunity. No one wants a handout. Everybody wants a hand up, and everybody wants to be able to work and be successful together. So I really do feel as though a lot of companies are taking a step back and saying, "Hey, is it possible? Can we do more?" And doing more makes more money for them. It's not like it's a charity thing where they're just going to give $100 million to a minority Bulgarian company just because it'll make them feel better. They would rather give you $500 million because you've earned it and they've been able to make money too. So it's still, again, it's the same premise and process of business, in so much that folks are looking for minority business partners. They have been. I think they will continue to do that, and they'll see the real advantages of it. And particularly, like I said, when Americans start getting, more than just Bulgarian Americans or people from the Balkan regions who live in the United States, when the rest of us Americans, who I know, I'm not Bulgarian, the rest of us Americans have an opportunity to get into your products and services, they'll be pleasantly surprised. I have always been. I'm pretty confident they will too.
Absolutely. Firsthand, you've seen the quality and the price of the
Absolutely.
products and the services. So,
Oh my God.
absolutely, there is definitely a market, and I believe there are many innovative services and products that can come to the United States market. Is just a matter of finding the right way. Would you recommend that those companies that want to import their products and look into this program maybe do a little bit of homework about the US market, do a little bit of market research analysis, maybe uh, just to learn, and see what's the expectation here?
Right. I think what I would recommend to those companies is, yeah, they can do their own research, but I recommend they reach out to U.S. Bulgarian Chamber in America for one reason. At least you're here, right? You're here. There's a lot of stuff you can find on the internet that's true, and that's just the raw data. But the real markets, the real opportunity, what's really going on, you need somebody on the ground that's here to living it every day. And in a lot of ways, obviously, U.S. Bulgarian Chamber in America, not only you understand the U.S. market, you clearly understand how your brethren and sisterin back home think. And so having someone like you and somebody like your organization to do the research, to do the what we call here in the United States, the boots on the ground work, that's extremely important. It saves a lot of time and saves a lot of money. Mostly it saves time because if you've got time, you can make more money.
I cannot agree more with you, Brian. As Brian said, the the U.S. Bulgarian Chamber can do market research analysis for you, can pull different reports to tell you, if there's already a product like that in the United States, what are your competitors. So definitely use those services. And like Brian said earlier, if you're not a member, please, you know how to reach us. You have our contact information. So we're happy to help. We're happy to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I
Um,
think those were all my questions, and
mhm.
uh, I think our folks will be looking for another series of those webinars
Mhm.
and sharing a participant, actually a minority supplier contractor. With that program would be very beneficial. So they can tell us their experience, the process, how impacted their business, and if how are they doing right now. So Brian, thank you again for being our
Thank
guest.
you.
And
Always, anytime. I'm happy to come back. Just call upon me.
as always, it's a pleasure, and we look for more collaborations. And if you have any questions, everybody will get the PowerPoint presentation in a PDF format in English and Bulgarian. We'll follow up with an email, and you will have Brian's information and the chamber's information as well. So please do not hesitate and call us, email us, find us on social media, send us message. There's many ways you can communicate with us if you're interested in learning more, or if there are topics that you're more specifically interested in us bringing them to you via webinar. So thank you everyone for joining us, and have a great the rest of the day. Thank
Thank you again, Elise. God bless you. God bless your family. Благодаря. Division, eh? Scuro. Bye now.